Over here we've got the big system, which is kind of the feature of the show. This is our 70th anniversary set, made up of the MC2152. This is the most powerful stereo preamp we've ever made. It's got the highest single noise of any tube amp we've made. So it's big, Beefy Transformers, beautiful chassis. This is extruded aluminum pieces, so they're all machined, they bolt together. And then we have a bottom cover and we skin that with carbon fiber. It's a little different look. And whenever Mcintosh changes the styling or brings out something that's unique looking, some people freak out, but a lot of customers around the world find this just to be right in appearance. The lights on this, the tube illumination we've been doing for a while, it can be off or it can be green or it can be blue. On these amps are heavily monitored as far as operating voltages, and this is all for safety certification. Unlike the tube power amps we built for the last 20 years, where we'll use a transistor to increase the signal-to-noise ratio or flip the phase on a balance connector, something like that. This is pure tube, so there's no transistors anywhere in the signal path. And this is the first amp we've done that way in quite a while. That said, did we give up signal-to-noise? No, it's got the highest signal-to-noise ratio.
Wow.
Maybe our 2301, the big tube monoblock, would be slightly better because it's fully balanced, but those tubes. So you turn it on, and it's going to do a sequence here where the voltages are swinging, stabilizing in the amplifiers. As it goes between the tubes, it's looking at that, and then I'll move on to the next tube. And voila, you're ready to play.
Ron, talk about the way that your small input tubes change its colors when it senses that there's a fault in the output tube.
So we have two amplifiers here. So this is the output tubes for the right channel, and these are the input tubes and the driver tubes. Same thing for this. So you can really look at it as two packages. If a tube would fail or short out or do something that could possibly damage the amplifier, or if the consumer shorted the speaker wires, the amplifier is going to turn off. And it's going to, if we shorted the speaker wires in the right channel, it's going to show a fault in this channel. So the first thing I would do is these tubes will turn red when you turn it on, and the amp will not turn on. That's an indication of where the fault is. It's in this channel. So I wouldn't say a tube's necessarily bad before I check the wiring. First thing I do is probably disconnect the speaker wires, turn it back on if it went to a green condition and the amplifier turned on, possibly something's failed inside the loudspeaker. If I hook the loudspeaker back up and then it goes red again. But what if all that checks out okay? Then I'd carefully examine the tubes, I'd let them cool off, and I would have one KT88, one 12AT7, and one 12AX7, and I would swap them with the tube that's in here one at a time and turn the amp on. When the amp turns on and goes green and operates correctly, the last tube you changed is the bad tube. Usually in an output tube, you'll see something. It'll look slightly different. It'll be a slightly different temperature. So when the amp's on, if you've got an intermittent where it goes red on you, I'd turn the amp on for 5 minutes and I'd just feel the temperature of the tubes. If one's cold or super hot, that's the bad tube. And that's kind of the way it works. You don't have to pull the amplifier in. It's 125 pounds. So doing that swap, and people say, well, why doesn't it come with a backup tube? So you should probably have some spares. You will need them. Tubes are like brake shoes on your car. They are consumable as you drive. Tubes consume as you use the amplifier. You must be prepared someday to change those tubes.
Great.
And if that's not your thing, buy transistors.